So welcome back. This is a very, it's going to be a very information heavy episode. The main reason for that is because there is a lot that happened in 2019 and I tried to go out and be super creative, I guess, in this episode, and it didn't really make sense because it's more of a timeline that I need to take you through from January to about September 2019. So, you know, at the back end of 2018 we did a big launch. I got into another supplier and essentially it was, I mean, you'd class it as drop shipping, because what we did was we bought a bunch of blank t-shirts, blank hoodies, tank tops, etc. They were staying in a warehouse in, I think it was towards Essex Way, and what would happen is I uploaded a few designs, people would buy the design, they would buy the hoodie or the t-shirt, then this guy would print it, pack it and send it to them. So I didn't have to do anything, because at this point it was something that was being told to me all the time was the direction that I needed to go in, which is you don't want to be doing anything, which is a lie. Don't do that. Don't do that too quickly unless you know what you're doing, because that entire launch was a big launch and we did well. You know, we sold a lot. But the problem occurred is that basically the guy messed up all the orders. He was printing the wrong designs on the wrong t-shirts, on the wrong hoodies. You know, some of the designs would come in and they were like literally fully squiffed, and I was like, oh man. He lost me quite a bit of money, which I did get back, but it was a rigmarole to prove that it was his fault. So there was a campaign that I really wanted to do. So at the beginning of 2019, I was in a spot where I could do it, so I did. It was the cancer awareness campaign. It was We Are Stronger Together. And it was mainly due to my best friend lost his dad in 2009 to cancer, and then at the time of the campaign, another close friend of mine was losing his nan to it. And I sat there in the space and I was like, I want to do something, but I want to do it right. So I needed a good couple of £1,000 really to get it off the ground. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that until the beginning of 2019. So when we did, we launched this entire campaign, which was you buy the t-shirt, 100% of the profits went to, you know, the cancer research. And it was fantastic. We started moving that through. People loved it. As you can tell right next to me, things are just flicking up on the screen now of like the campaign. And the hype, the impact, the influence and the audience that we essentially created from that campaign definitely springboarded us into a whole new playing field when it came to the brand. Right guys, what is up? This is amazing. This is amazing. This is our first donation to cancer research. I've got it all set up right there, right for you guys. Come be part of it. £234 is our first donation to cancer research. I am absolutely blown away with that. That's insane. It's insane that, you know, a community's been able to do that. So we thank you for that. I'm gonna enter my card details, obviously. You guys can't know that. So I'll show you the after thing. So from me, from the company, from everyone who's involved and all the families that we're helping with this and ones that are very close to our heart, we cannot thank you enough. We can't wait to see how the rest of the sales go over the next coming months, and as always, we'll let you know. So there you got to see the clip of the first donation that we did, which was at the beginning of February, I think I want to say, in 2019. I remember because I was away for the weekend at a fighting event or something. And then from that point, I remember having a pretty honest conversation with a good friend of mine, and I'm very open. I'm open and I'm authentic, and if you ask me my opinion or my thoughts and feelings on stuff, I will give you what I think is right. I don't like it when people butter things up to make someone else to either feel better or to get what they want out of them. I don't do that sort of stuff. And I remember sitting down and having a conversation with them, and I was telling them essentially everything that you've learned up to date, because that's where I was at the time. And I told them my social media plans and the strategy and how I was going about, you know, getting income and getting extra income so I could move my projects on faster. Because see, this was the thing. A lot of people thought that, you know, 100% of everything that Emergily is from Emergily itself. It's not. It's an accumulation of everything. A lot of the work that I've done with, you know, the camera and film and photography has gone into flourishing this business. This business has cost me the most money overall across all of my businesses. You know, I've done it since day one, where my day job pays for me to live, and that's why I keep it. So I live a pretty, I want to say, humble lifestyle, because the things that I buy extra for myself, you know, PlayStation, whatever, my free time, that comes out of my day job. That doesn't come out of the business. So they said to me that they were like, well, why don't you write about it? I've always been a decent writer, but I was like, I can't write. And then I said, at the same point, no one's going to pick up a book from me. I don't have enough to say yet. You know, I have a little bit, but not a lot. I was like, I can only tell people what I've done now. And they were like, well, that's what you need to do. So in 2019, I also wrote a book which came out in November 2019, which was called The Infamous Side Hustle, which is what I used to like saying all the time when people were like, is there anything you don't do? Because I would. If someone gave me an opportunity to help people, I took it. I took it with both hands, okay? And then another massive change happened in my life. When I'm telling you that 2019 was such a big year, it really was. Because I changed jobs. I moved out of the equine industry. I was an equine vet nurse and into pharmaceuticals. And I think that move for me has been incredible. Because basically, if you know me well, I'm trying to get this camera to move. My day job at the time, when it was vet nursing, was stressful. It was emotionally, physically, mentally. You know, I give a lot of credit to people who work in the industry. You have to get super comfortable with working 16 to 18 hour shifts and sometimes not sleeping for the evening and then having to go to work the next day and watching animals die in front of you. It's not a fun job. It definitely pushes you in a bunch of different ways. It's why I sympathise with the NHS so much. And moving into pharmaceutical, moving into a job role which was by definition easier, mentally and physically made me a lot better. And it also gave me the opportunity to invest more into what I do and what I do on the side. There was no plans of quitting my job. I knew that I needed a day job. You know, I'd only just had a little taste of success. I'm not one of these people who's like, yeah, okay, fine, you made your salary on top of your already existing salary, you know, so you're making double the amount of money, you can quit your day job and then just keep that. I'm not like that. I'm always thinking of what if, what could happen. And also, my day job allows me to be more reckless with my businesses. I can do more with them. So that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Also, in April, that's a good thing to point out, in April we actually got a warehouse. I started to buy a lot more stock. So it was like every time we started doing stuff or restocking things, I was buying more and more. Instead of buying, I think at the beginning we had 100 t-shirts and 50 snapbacks. But for example, the second launch after that, which were hoodies with the small embroidery on the front, I only bought 30 of those. I didn't buy a lot. I literally got a handful because it's all I could afford. And they sold out. No, they didn't sell out. I think I had an extra small in white or something left by the end of it. But you know, they sold pretty quickly, but they're going to, because you're doing it in such small quantity orders. You know, it happens. As the year moved on, so we're probably getting into like May now. As we moved on, I was doing a lot more content. I was doing a lot more film and photography. At that time, I only had a £350 setup photography camera and a £600 film camera. So I had two different cameras. I was running off both of them. It was quite difficult for me to do. So I made the decision to invest into a decent camera, which is the one that I am filming on now. I'm part of the Sony gang, if that is a reference to any photographers and stuff out there. And I did that because we had a content creation day coming up in London for Emergely, where basically I just went out and just said, hey, everyone, if you want new content, come and hang out. And I'll do it for free in London. All you've got to do is get yourself in and out of London, and that was it. And the London day in St. Paul was fantastic. We had, I think it was 6 people turn up. They all got fresh new content. I had a fresh new camera with new lenses, which I do look at some of the pictures now and I was like, I wish I had a little bit more time to get used to this camera because the content wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But, you know, you do things like that and you move, and I think that is something that I do a lot. I'm willing to give a lot of things a go and see what happens. And not think too much about it. I think sometimes people think a little bit too much about it. It's like if you have a camera and you want to get better, then put yourself out there to get better, whether it's for free or paid. If you get the opportunity to get paid, because they obviously see some value in you, regardless of whether you think you're not up for it yet. The reasoning for that sort of mindset change was, at this point, I was also picking up massive clients, massive social media clients that had 500,000 followers, 250,000 followers, but it wasn't anymore that I was picking up clients to do photography for free for them, to get exposure, to expand my portfolio. These were paying clients, and these clients were paying me at one point anything between £1,000 to £2,000 per month. So when I say that 2019 was a decent year, it was a decent year. We did a lot. We moved a lot. And financially, I couldn't believe what was happening. During this period though, just pointing out, because I did go back in my archive of my stories, between May and July was a very big time of where I took a lot of time off of social media. Personally, I was posting things that I was doing so people knew that I was still out and working, but I didn't really want anyone to know what was going on with my life. I didn't really want people to know how my relationship at the time was going or how I was mentally feeling or anything like that, because I will not lie to you, it was overwhelming. It was essentially a tipping point from you're working really hard but you're making no money out of it, and you're only holding yourself accountable to the dreams that are inside your head. And then it completely flipped to the other side where it's like, no, you are now accountable because that person is paying you to do that job. So if you mess up, if I submitted the wrong thing, which I did, I lost one of my biggest clients because of my fuck-ups, and it was silly and I didn't think. And between that period is where I just was so busy that I started to make mistakes because I wasn't thinking anymore. I was definitely in an autopilot, and mentally I was not able to keep up. Because I'm really happy that a lot of people see me as driven and passionate and slightly crazy. But it does come with downsides. And I had no idea that within a mere 6 months after the first triggering points was when my mental health was going to go haywire. Though in August and September I went over to America, I filmed a childhood friend's wedding in my hometown. I, got to travel a little bit. I got to relax. I got to build what I wanted. We released hoodies that sold out in seconds, and I mean that was my biggest financial purchase with the company. It was my biggest quantity orders. We were getting to hundreds now, and I had 4 colours. I had grey, black, candy pink and gold, and they were selling like hotcakes, and I couldn't keep up with demand, and it was amazing. So on a piece of paper everything was fantastic. To the last quarter of the year, everything was like, we've smashed it. We've got big clients paying us big money. My company's getting to a point where I'm enjoying it and what I mean by that is like I was enjoying it to the fact that it wasn't like it was such a hustle or a grind anymore. It was like I actually wanted to turn up. I actually loved sitting in the warehouse and packing orders with music on or a podcast, and even though it was still pretty much run by just me, it was in that comfortable position where the hard work over 2.5, nearly 3 years was becoming something, okay? And that was the entirety of that year. Within a short period of time, within 3 years, my entire life was changing around me, and a lot of people could see it. I don't think I could see it. So when I came back from America, I was refreshed, I was new, I'd had my birthday over there, and yeah, 28 years old, and I was like, I've moved again. That was another thing, I moved again. I moved like 3 times in 1 year, and there was just so much shit going on. And that's what's going to lead into this next couple of clips that you're going to see, which is I was playing football. I picked up football again because I had time to do the hobbies that I loved, and this was filmed a mere like 2 hours before I ruptured my Achilles.
What is up, guys? I'm going to jump on this quickly. So basically, I was thinking about this the other day, like usual. Everything always seems to be like, I thought about this the other day. It could be the other day or 6 months ago. Who knows? There was like a person I was reading, and comments. And someone was just having a bad day, and then someone's response was, someone's always got it worse than you. Like, always think that should make you feel like more grateful about life. And I have said that before to people, but then I was sitting there and I was thinking in little Emily world, and I was like, it's totally unrelatable. Like, just because someone's got it worse off than you, regardless of whether it's a kid in Africa or your next door neighbour, doesn't mean that your pain is invalid. So yeah, I was a bit like, don't know what to think about that, but I definitely think that that quote, I guess, is just wrong. And I think it's something that we do a lot, is it's always try and think about someone who has it shitter than you, and it shouldn't be the way. If you're in pain, regardless of whether it's you're in pain because you got injured at football, I'm currently at football, or a parent died, or that your best friend just moved away, and it just means it's going to be a little bit more effort to go and see them. Your pain is still valid. it doesn't mean that you should think about your next door neighbour who's maybe just been diagnosed with cancer and then suddenly your pain's going to disappear, because it's just not the way that it works. So yeah, if you consistently tell people to, you should be grateful because people have got it a lot worse than you, just think about it for a second, because we're such a society now where we suppress everything. I don't think you should suppress it. So if you're having a shit day, embrace the shit day. Just don't sit in it for too long. Okay? I love you guys. The weather's shit. I'm gonna go and stand in the cold in Gaul and get really wet.
Now, I keep that clip everywhere. It's on my hard drive, it's on my computer. I've posted it on the internet since. Because in the next episode, it's called the mental depreciation, and we're going to go into a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about me. They don't know about the company, they don't know about business or being an entrepreneur, though I really don't like that word, and the things that happen when you push yourself in the sort of ways that we do. Rupturing my Achilles was fine. Like, it was one of those things, when it happened, I was in shock and I didn't really know what happened, and I sat in A&E for 9 hours, I think it was like 8 to 9 hours. I had to get stabbed. I had to have blood thinners for my legs, and I was casted all the way up to like my hip, and it didn't hit me at all. The entire thing didn't hit me. It didn't hit me until months later, and I welcomed it. But I think the main reason that I welcomed it is because it had to force me to slow down. Yeah. Wow, I've never said that. Yeah, but it did. It forced me to slow down. I had to stop. I couldn't run at 120 miles an hour anymore because I couldn't fucking walk. I had my partner at the time helping me get in and out of the bath because I was in a cast for 4 days before I got put into an orthopedic boot. I couldn't fucking do anything for myself. I couldn't get up and down the stairs. I mean, getting down the stairs was fine because I just did that butt slide. But getting up the stairs was a different story. It took me ages. And yeah, I welcomed it. I welcomed it with open arms. I got bored very quickly, and I was still working on things that I could do on my computer. But it was such a shock to my system. It was the first time since I was about, first time since I was about 18 years old, so 10 years, that I'd actually slowed down. And I stopped running at 120 miles an hour because I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't, for someone who's so independent, taking away that independence is baffling. And whereas people would have broken down and cried or got emotional about it, I just didn't. I just shut off. I was just like, cool, okay, this is the situation I'm in right now. But I think in a way it was my body and my mind telling me that they were like, you got some shit you need to deal with. So yeah, I mean, so 2019, to wrap up this episode, is the year that I always look back on a lot when it comes to anything regarding businesses or me, like me myself as a person. There was a lot of things that I did in that year. There was a lot of things that I messed up on, and there was so many things that I did really, really well, and I don't think I ever give myself credit for it, because I was so zoned in. I was so hyper focused on this is what has to happen with the social media, this is what has to happen with the film and photography and Emerge Elite, and then my personal life, my friends, my partner at the time, and I was trying to be everything at the same time. And I was 27, 28 years old. 27, 28 years old, you know, like you should be able to get your shit together. You're still young. You're still very, very young. And from the age of 25 to 27, my entire life had changed. So it was a turning point. I've said that before about a lot of things. But then a recap of the whole docu-series is then you look at where we started and it was like, it was fucking like a young kid who was just trying to make a difference. But the next episode will definitely, I don't know, it'll open up some people's eyes and it will definitely explain Be Unapologetically You, the campaign. So yeah, that was 2019. It was a hell of a fucking year. It was a crazy year. It's why after a really good conversation with a friend of mine the other day, is that I said I'm always playing the long game. I'm always playing the long game. Because I played the short game and I did do well. It took something as significant as losing the ability to walk to really crash me back down to earth. And the climb back out of that has not been fun. So yeah. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't look forward to the next episode because yeah, I'm open to a point, but I haven't discussed the things that are going to be discussed next week. So look out for that. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Be unapologetically you, okay? Do your thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.